Hi folks, and welcome to this week's edition of Outdoors with Bob Coker. We're in the middle of nowhere.
Literally the middle of nowhere. This place is in the middle of nowhere.
We're in Harris, Missouri, hunting with the outfitter called Middle of Nowhere Outfitters, and so we are literally there, folks. Lots of deer here. We're going to be going on a whitetail deer hunt. We've got a hunt winner, Bradley Johnson, who won a hunt at the Birmingham World Deer Expo last year, and so we're going to be showing you his hunt. I'm going to be hunting. Brandon's going to be hunting. We got Brandon's grandfather with us, Papa, and he's going to be hunting. So we've got a lot of hunting to show you, and we don't want to waste any more time. We're going to take you right to a hunt. The beginning of this hunt, though, folks, is a pure example of you can teach an old dog new tricks. Brandon here, he taught me something on this hunt. I like to carry my overalls into the stand with me because I don't like to get hot and get sweaty. There's two problems with carrying your overalls in. You are most likely going to get mud on your boots, and so when you go to put the overalls on at your stand, you're going to get mud on the inside of your overalls. Brandon told me, well, why don't you take that plastic Walmart bag with you and stuff it in your pocket and use it to put your overalls on. So that's exactly what I did, and it took care of two birds with one stone. Didn't get any mud on my shoes, and it made it real quick and simple. So I keep a plastic bag now in my overalls pockets at all times for that simple reason.
You always teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
Everybody's got room to advance.
And it's the first evening of our hunt, so we don't know what we might see here. We got a few bucks here on a motion detector camera, but they've all been at night, so we've gotten some doe in the daytime, so we're hoping that the buck slips up and comes in looking after these does, and we'll get a look at him before it gets too dark.
Me and Brandon, every time we get in a stand, the first thing we do is get our rangefinder out and we start shooting all the trees that are around us, and we want to know what the distances are. That way, if we don't have time to shoot the rangefinder on the actual deer we're going to shoot, then we kind of got an idea based on the trees that are around us if we memorize those distances. And Brandon and I both do that every time we get up in a tree. That's the first thing we do.
Folks, the first part of the hunt started out pretty slow, so Bob decided to get out his grunt tube and his rattle box and try to rattle up a few big bucks.
Couldn't hurt. We weren't seeing anything anyway, and sometimes it helps.
Yep.
Well, folks, Papa here Put smack daddy on one of them this morning while Brandon and I were filming Bradley and Roger. Papa was hunting on his own. We didn't have a camera on him, and he's the guy we should have had a camera on. He has shot a real nice one. He blood trailed it, and when he got up to it, it was still alive, and it got up and run off. So we've gone and had lunch, and now we're fixing to get back on the deer, and he may have to put another arrow in him, but we're going to take you with us as we finish blood trailing and walk up on him. What do you think?
Let's go get him.
All right, yeah, let's go get it, folks. Y'all don't want to miss this. It's a nice one. Looks like he might be a 10, 11 pointer, and really, really long tines, a lot of mass. I can't wait to see you.
I'm ready.
All right, come on, let's do it.
Folks, we've been tracking this deer, and we've got good blood from the last time we jumped him. And I looked up and I seen him sitting right here in this brush pile. And Papa pulled up on him, but as soon as we saw him, he saw us, and he jumped up, took off.
Well, Papa put the shot on this big boy here, a Missouri whitetail deer. Papa, you ever killed a Missouri deer before?
Never hunted Missouri before.
We're at the Middle of Nowhere Outfitters. Dennis can put you on deer like this, folks. Call the number at the bottom of the screen. We're in Harris, Missouri, hunting with the Middle of Nowhere, and I know where they got that name from, don't you, Papa?
Yeah, I do.
We out in the middle of nowhere, but he's got bucks like this, and you got to go out in the middle of nowhere to find bucks like this. A 155 to 160 class. Folks, we got a whole lot more hunting here on Outdoors with Bob Coker. Don't y'all go away. Well, welcome back, folks. We're going to show you the hunt winner from the World Deer Expo in Birmingham, Alabama. He won this hunt there, Bradley Johnson. He's in his last day of his hunt. It was a 3-day hunt, and he saw lots of small bucks, but no shooters, lots of does, and this being his last day, let's see how it works out for him.
We're here in Missouri, Middle of Nowhere Outfitters. Just broke down by some turkeys started flying out of the trees on us. We'll see some deer here in a little bit.
Folks, on this hunt, I'm filming Bradley. We sat in the stand all day. The hunt started out pretty slow in the morning. We saw a few turkeys. So I told Bradley to go ahead and get his rattle box out and see if we can't rattle in a few bucks.
As time went on, and finally it was getting in the afternoon hunt, and Bradley saw this doe, and he told you he hadn't shot that many deer with his bow, so he certainly wanted to leave from there with a deer in his under his belt, and so he whispered over at Brandon and said, "Hey, if this doe gives me the opportunity, I'm gonna try to put an arrow through him." So
He did.
all right, well, let's see what happens.
You see her? Punch that hole. It's been a real fun hunt. It's been the funnest hunt I've ever been on, actually. Been out here for 3 days, hunting pretty hard. You looking for a fun hunt, this is the place to do it. My hunting buddy Brandon, his granddad killed a monster 12-pointer this morning. Monster, 160 class 12-pointer. If looking for a fun hunt, this place to do it. Middle of nowhere outfitters.
Well, folks, now we're going to show you Brandon's hunt. He's finished filming Bradley, and so now it's his turn to get behind the bow and see what kind of luck he can have.
Yeah, we started out the hunt. I started ranging a few trees, make sure I get my yardage in my head. That way I wouldn't have to do it when the deer got in if I didn't have time. And it started out pretty slow, so we just waited out and see what happens.
Wasn't too long after that, though, Brandon spotted a couple of bucks out in the field that was kind of behind him on the opposite side of where I was. I was doing the filming. I couldn't see but the one buck, which was the smaller buck, but Brandon knew there were two of them there, and he was just sitting her out and hoping that eventually I would see that there was a bigger buck.
Yeah, the young buck actually was acting like the big boy. He was out there rubbing trees, and he was out in front, and the big guy kind of stood in the back. And the camera, you couldn't even see the big buck until he got in close, but I think Bob thought I was probably going to shoot the little one.
Yeah, I was beginning to wonder if he was or not. And finally, that smaller buck, he came in from Brandon's, stayed on Brandon's right side and walked completely out of sight. But then when that happens, usually you think if there's any other deer, they're going to follow the first deer, but that's not what happened. The bigger buck come on in, and he went to Brandon's left. And so we're going to see what happened. Well, the bigger buck, he got down into this ditch, and he got behind a cedar tree, and I could see his head moving. He was rubbing that cedar tree, but Brandon couldn't see the deer. He thought the buck might have got down in that ditch and eased off the other way. As soon as he got through rubbing the tree, then here he come out on our side of the creek.
I wasn't sure what yardage he was. I'd ranged 2 trees on that side, and I didn't know whether he was at 30 or 40, so I went with the one that I thought he was closest to, and Finally got a shot.
All right.
Look at
That's
that
a
deer.
nice one, buddy. Oh my gosh, Brandon.
Good Lord.
Middle of nowhere outfitters, folks. We ain't been here but 2.5 days, and we already got 2 big Pope and Young deer on the ground. Papa kills his, and finally we get to do some hunting, and Brandon kills his. Folks, they've got some deer. Anytime you go on a hunt with a bow, the odds aren't that high you killing a deer. We got 2 of them down. Now it's my turn. What do you think?
Yeah. You got a lot of room to make up from these 2 bucks we killed already.
Boy, look at this. Big old long G2s. This deer, even though it's an 8-point, he's a mature buck, and he's definitely going to score in the 130s. He may be pushing 140. Nice buck with a bow.
Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna let me get him. He came in, I didn't think I was gonna get a shot, and finally he presented us with a good shot, and we took it, and I thought I could see him fall on camera, but he made it a little bit out of sight before he went down.
He didn't go over 100 yards. You smoked him. These new Fletch Airs, they fly good. This Matthews Z7. You got the equipment to do it. Middle of nowhere outfitters, call the number at the bottom of the screen. You want to go on a great hunt. We've had a blast. The Middle of Nowhere Outfitters in Harris, Missouri, put you on bucks like this. We've killed one that's close to a booner, another one that's definitely Pope and Young. We've had a great time. Folks, till next week, be safe, shoot 'em straight, and may God bless. We'll see you next week on Outdoors with Bob Coker. Now we got to get this baby out of the middle of nowhere.
Now the work starts.